Hey, I'm Jay, and if you're looking to buy a knife and you need to see what it's like first before you drop your hard-earned money on it, here's what you gotta do. Click on subscribe so I can help you, and remember to click that bell notification so you don't miss a thing. So all of the specs that you are currently looking at right now, I had personally measured myself, so those of you interested, go ahead, good spot to pause and read. So this is the Dmitry Sinkevich designed Kershaw Atmos 4037. As usual, we'll look at what I like about this and some of the potential deal breakers that I see, but let's go ahead and get the size comparisons out of the way really quick. Limited size comparisons, because I only brought a couple knives with me on the trip here, northern Wisconsin. So this is going to be, of course, the Spyderco Manix 2 backlock and the Benchmade automatic Casbah. So as you can see, both are massively larger than the smaller Atmos. So guys, first I want to go ahead and just apologize for any of the background noise that you are going to hear, because we are not alone. So let's go ahead and start out with the, well, with what I like about the blade, which happens to be a 3 inches of HCR 13 MOV steel that is hollow ground drop point with 2.61 millimeter thickness and a width of, it is under an inch at 0.86. So yeah, this is a little bit more of a narrow design blade, and this is actually a lot more narrow than I would normally prefer. The blade is riding on the KVT ball bearing pivot system, which should sound familiar to you because that is found on the zero tolerance knives as well. Now this is going to be just strictly the flipper only deployment. You can either do the push button or the light switch. Either one works here. The action is just great, and that's going to be because of the strong detent and the KVT ball bearing system. I mean, I have been trying to get this blade to get a fail to fire, and it is darn near impossible. Now it does kind of fall shut. If you do a little bit of shake and bake there, you can get it to fall shut, but it's not going to have that kind of, you know, drop shut action that you like, because the blade is just way too light. Now check out the size of that flipper. That thing is just minuscule, and yeah, it's tiny. I like it, I really do. I just don't like when there's a big flipper, and I'm sure most of you don't either, when you got that big flipper just kind of pecking at stuff in your pocket. Now, as long as we're talking about that flipper, that's one of 4 areas, that's right, 4 areas of jimping on this knife. So there on the flipper tab, where else is some more of the jimping? Oh yeah, on the backspacer, on the spine of the blade, and one other area, oh yeah, on the handle, right there, kind of where your pinky would kind of land. The jimping on the blade spine, it's not very effective at all. It kind of feels like if you run your finger along the edge of a dime, it feels exactly like that. Now, once this is deployed, you can see this knife features nested liners, and it looks like it's locking up at about 35% with, oh wow, look at that, almost perfect centering. Very well done by Kershaw. Let's go ahead and take a look at that at the handle scales. The scales are, in fact, they're G10 with carbon fiber accents. You see that? Maybe let me show you the show side. You know what, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm not crazy about these carbon fiber accents, because if you take a close look, they kind of look like it's just a sticker, like that you might be able to kind of just peel that off. So I'm not crazy about that look. But now, you know, I wear a medium-sized glove, and I can fit, look at that, all 4 of my fingers on this 4-inch handle no problem whatsoever. Disassembly of the Kershaw Atmos is pretty easy. You're only going to have just the, looks like 1 and then 2 body screws, but one of those body screws is kind of pulling double duty as a pocket clip screw. So I always like to see that as well. And as long as we're talking about that pocket clip, let's take a look at it. It is a very nice deep carry. Now it's going to be tip up only, but it is for righties. And hey, look at that, lefty love as well. Yep, it's for us lefties as well. So take a look at how that clip mounts here on the Atmos. Look at that. It is actually flush with the scales. I always appreciate that. So yeah, so there is, on the other side, if you do go to switch it, you're going to see that, yeah, there's a plate there that you're going to have to take off. So that's nice, because then not much stuff is going to get caught. The Atmos carries very nicely in the pocket with a closed width of just under an inch at 0.96 and a handle thickness of well under a ½ inch at 0.42. I want to go ahead and grab the scale, and I want to show how much this is going to weigh you down. Okay, let's go ahead and toss this up on the scale and kind of see what we got. Ooh, that's very good. 1.90 ounces. That is just fantastic. So yeah, that's very, very low weight, as it should be, you know, for a gentleman's folder like this. And now the price of the Kershaw Atmos, you could pick up one of these for, usually retails for about 30 bucks, which some of you might consider that a little high for, you know, HCR steel, but $30 I think is a decent price. Now, unfortunately, we do have to get into, we have to talk about some of the potential deal breakers with this knife. Before we do, I just want to quickly remind you, go ahead and click on that subscribe button if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. So first potential deal breaker is going to be regarding the handle scales. And they are just absolutely riddled with sharp edges. I mean, pretty much, well, everywhere. Now, I know that this is going to be a gentleman's folder, so you're not going to be using this hard, but if there is ever an occasion where you really do need to kind of bear down on it and get a good purchase, just know that there's a lot of sharp edges going on here. So I would have liked to have seen maybe some more of these kind of rounded a little better by Kershaw. The flipper tab also is very, very sharp. Now, of course, not sharp enough to cut you, but the sides are sharp, and right there where the jimping starts, that is also going to be another sharp edge. Next is going to be the plunge grind. So you see that? Bring that up a little bit closer, but the plunge grind at the sharpening choil is just absolutely horrible. This is probably one of the worst plunge grinds that I have really ever seen. I mean, I know it's fixable. I mean, this is just, you know, especially with HCR steel, but I just wanted to point that out. And hopefully it's just with my example, but just know that it's possible that you could get one with a pretty bad plunge grind. And the last potential deal breaker is going to be, it's really, really minor, and I normally do not mention this in my reviews, but I gotta show you this, the lettering here. So the billboarding on the blade, it's just in the middle, like right in the middle of the grind area, and it just looks odd with it. It's just sitting there in the middle like that. Actually on both sides, but especially here, I just would have kind of liked to see that up a little bit higher. Again, not a huge deal, but just something that I wanted to mention. So I guess now where does that leave us with the Kershaw Atmos. Well, first, I would like to, I have a question for you guys that I would like you to respond to down in the comment section. So, my question to you is, if you could choose a knife from your collection, like any knife that has a budget steel, that you could take and upgrade it to any steel you want, which knife would you pick for that kind of a steel upgrade? Let me know down in the comment section below. Look forward to reading and responding. So at $30 here for the Atmos, I mean, you are able to get a Sinkevich design for a relatively inexpensive price. I mean, there really is a lot of good going on here. The action is just fantastic. I mean, it really is good. The blade shape, I mean, this knife is an incredible slicer. The size, I mean, it's just a little heavier than the Benchmade Bug Out, and the pocket clip is just great. But unfortunately, that's all going to come at a price, and that's going to be at the cost of your comfort, because there really are just quite a few sharp edges. You know what? And if that kind of thing doesn't bother you, if there's, like, you know, some sharpness going on the G10, if that is not a big deal to you, then absolutely, by all means, go and pick up one of these, because again, it just makes a great gentleman's folder at a relatively low price. But just remember now that it's going to be $30 for 8CR 13 MOV.